All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Ignite Initiative. I have a good friend, Bianca, on of Modern Wellness. Welcome, Bianca.
I'm so excited to be here, finally.
Of course. And you were actually, and I was telling them before, you were actually the first client of Ignite, honestly.
No way.
Yeah, you were. You were the first client of Ignite. Back when it wasn't even a thing, where I just kind of was messing around, business coaching people for free, and then turned into something, really. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, you're the founder, owner of Modern Wellness in Limbrook, and, since 2021.
Yes.
But let's just go back to, how it all started. So, going back to your childhood, you were telling me had entrepreneurial spirit in you. So explain that to me and, how that, your parents were entrepreneurs. So explain all that to me. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. So my parents were both business owners, entrepreneurs. My dad owned nightclubs back in the day before I was born. Okay. He owned like a coffee shop, cafe. Now he owns an auto body shop. And my mom, she designed and created handbags and shoes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had her own line. She had a showroom on Fifth Avenue, like just so many dreams that they had that they conquered and they accomplished, which was so inspiring to me. I wish I was there for all of it, but I wasn't.
Of course.
This was before I was born.
You learn about it then, right?
It's funny. I actually learned through stories because a lot of their family members were workers of their businesses. Okay. So they have like the best, like funniest stories of the times they were working at the club and the coat check and the bar. And then my uncle was like selling shoes and handbags on the streets of the city. Like it's so
it's in your blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, before you got into that journey of entrepreneurship, your main focus growing up was tennis, correct?
Yeah.
So when did that start?
So I started playing tennis when I was 8 years old, and I'm the type of person when I want to do something, I'm like, I want to be the best. So I thought I was going to be a professional tennis player for my entire life. And thankfully my mom she's such a believer in dreams. So she was always like, yeah, you're going to make it. My dad's like more of like rational, like, okay, you try your best,
You might not.
Yeah. But I always appreciated that balance. But it's actually funny because even though my parents were entrepreneurs, I never in my mind thought like I could be a business owner. Like you're so like set on the way like society says to get a stable job and study and do these things. But yeah. I mean, that's a topic for later. But yeah, so through tennis, I met my mentor, Fahad, who I'm still in touch with today. And he's like one of those people, I don't know if you have anybody in your life like this, that is just so smart in like every category. Like you ask a question, he has an answer. Like he knows so much, but specifically more on like the health and wellness, mental health, even like spiritual teaching. So he's just
he inspired you from the beginning, basically? Yeah.
I could tell a story. So the first time we had one of these like life talks was, I think I was like 10 years old. And I still remember to this day, which, side note, be careful with your words with kids because they remember things that like, he's like, how do you remember these things? I'm like, these things stuck with me my entire life.
The things you remember, they stick with you. Good things stick with you, right?
Yeah.
Some bad things too, unfortunately, but.
I was scared. I had a really strong fear of death and I didn't want to go to school and my parents didn't know what to do. So I had my tennis lesson one day and my mom was like, oh, Fahad, can you just talk to her? Like, just try to get her to overcome this fear. And I remember we sat down on the side of the tennis court and he was like telling me how in his culture, he's from Pakistan, how they see death as part of the life cycle. And here it's more of like a taboo thing. Like you don't talk about death.
It's like a really bad thing.
It's scary. It's bad. And he told me the story of how I think it was his uncle or grandfather, how he peacefully passed and brought his family to the house. And it's not something to worry about. It's part of the life cycle and just.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. And at that age, I was like, wow, no one's ever like brought that angle to death, like ever.
That way.
Yeah. So I remember that stuck out to me so much. And then from there on out, we just would some days not even have a tennis lesson. We would sit on the side of the tennis court. Something was bothering me. Something came up in school, issue with parents, whatever it was. And it was just so much guidance and support. So that then initiated my passion for mental health through him.
So your first therapy session, basically, when you were 10 years old, without you even knowing it, right?
Exactly.
That's really cool. So let's talk a little bit more about tennis. So like when you were 8 years old and you're pretty serious about it, obviously. So like, explain, tell everybody, let everybody know.
Well, now I look back, I'm like, was I really that good? I really thought I was going to be a pro. I don't know. I mean, I guess I was so determined. Like I was like self-improvement, I guess, from that age. And the way I felt being on the court was like no other feeling. Like I felt like I could let out all my energy, my frustration.
And it's a very personal sport where it's like 1v1 really for most of the time, right? So it's like you can really compete for yourself.
Yeah, and it could be lonely. I actually always wanted to play on a team sport.
Yeah, because it could be. I could see that.
Yeah.
I guess that's the only thing that lacks is that team camaraderie. But what about in high school? Like when aren't you on teams though? How does it work exactly?
Yeah.
But you're still playing for yourself.
You're still playing for yourself, but then I also played for college too. Something else my tennis coach stuck with me, something he said, reach for the stars and land on the moon. So I reached for the stars, want to be a pro, but I landed on the moon. I played Division I tennis, and that was pretty amazing. So, but yeah, I got the team experience in college, which was awesome. But yeah, no, I loved it. And after that, I feel like, I don't know if you had this experience, but after sports, it's kind of like, wait, what do I do with my life?
It's an empty feeling. Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
I talk about this all the time with people. It's like, because I think people that play college sports, it's like in the beginning, you're working towards that your whole life, from whenever you're 8 years old or 10 years old, up until college, through college, right? You're working on that. And then when it's over, it's like, it's over. And like my whole routine for me, football is like every single day, it's football, and like school is like whatever, or business, whatever. And no, I definitely had that. A lot of other people have that. So it's like filling that void, but then it's like all the lessons you learn from your sports. So like what lessons did you learn from tennis that transferred over into the entrepreneur, lifestyle?
Oh my gosh, so many. I'm trying to think. I mean, like trying to stay in the moment, not getting too far ahead of yourself. And
staying balanced, right? Because if a bad play happens, if something bad happens, so have to play the next serve, right? That's the correct word?
Yeah.
Serve, okay. Just want to make sure. I'm not a big tennis guy. So you got to play the next serve, right? Like no matter what happens. So like, and that's the same thing in business, right? You have a bad month, bad day. Next day happens. Like how could you wake up and just kind of be even and attack the day like you normally would, right? Because yesterday's gone already.
Yeah. So also like hard work pays off. Like if you put more hours in the gym, on the court, on the field, you see the results. The same in business. If you put more work into it, you should see more outcome. Yeah,
it takes long sometimes, but it happens, right? That consistency factor always has to happen.
Yeah.
So, all right. So it seems like your mentor really helped motivate you into the therapy world, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. Now, what made you want to start Modern Wellness in 2021? What was the motive behind that?
So I had my private practice before then. So I had a full caseload of clients working full time. I actually rented out a basement in someone's house, and it was like a hot pink room. So I said, if I could make a full practice in a hot pink basement room, then I could probably make it somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So I started there, and also that was kind of lonely too. And I don't want to say boring, but like I felt like I wanted to do more than just see clients every day.
Of course.
And I said, what, I want to do more. I want to have more services than just the talk therapy. And I looked at my numbers. I said, okay, if I open up a place, I have enough money to pay my rent. I'm living at home. My parents are supporting me. This is the time to do it now.
For sure.
Before, I have a family and other expenses. So my parents supported me. I found a place in Lynbrook, and so I just said, I'm just going to try this. I didn't really have a plan, and it kind of just all worked out. But I did add other services. I added, I have like a little studio section.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what other services do you guys have? I know you guys have other stuff.
So we have like 2 offices for just the talk therapy. Okay. Then I have a little studio where we do some yoga classes, meditation, different mental health workshops to kind of bring more of like community sense. You actually inspired me a lot with the community aspect because I've been a member of your gym for now 10 years, I think, right?
About.
So that was such a big help in my life. And this was after COVID 2021. People really needed community besides just the mental health therapy. So I said, let me just combine all of this in one place. And again, let me see what happens. And it just went off from there.
No, that's a great idea. And it sounds like the same thing with the teams. Like with tennis, it's one-on-one, but at the same time, like you still want that team feel. It's the same thing here, right? It's like bringing the community to it. And, I remember talking about that with you, in actual like strategy calls to, what else could we have in here to make it a little bit different and kind of, set itself apart a little bit more.
Yes.
So yeah, that covers all the, all the services you offer now. I guess, you weren't in business before 2020, but did you see an uptick after 2020 because, mental health, all that stuff, people staying in home? Did you see an uptick? Was it noticeable from like somebody that's professional in your industry, or is it not noticeable? People just say it.
Like mental health issues or mental
just the surge of clients basically who need it. Oh yeah. Or coming out about it, at least that they need it. You know what I'm saying? Like and inquiring for it.
Yeah. I mean, I still, even though I was on my own, technically it was a business. It's just one person show.
So you're still there. You saw inquiries,
the calls and the referrals, and then my phone was like nonstop.
Was it more suicidal then, or no? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would say more so anxiety was a bigger factor, but yeah, definitely suicidal rates increased. But I would say I'm seeing at least more anxiety around the globe.
Yeah, now you are. Do you think it's because of COVID and all that stuff?
That's what everyone's saying. I think that was a big trigger. And then sometimes when you have an event like that, even though it's years later, like your body still is reacting to the former stress.
And the thought of it happening again, possibly, right?
Yeah.
What's your best method of, I know it's like a case to case basis, but like calming somebody down with the anxiety of that and like, thinking in the future of the worst things happening. What do you do in those situations? Just curious.
Yeah, no, it is very individualized and it's a good question, but even us as clinicians, we were like, wait, we were never trained for a pandemic. what do we do? Like we're experiencing it too. So a lot of it was even just giving like the mutual support, like, yeah, we're all going through this. We're all feeling this, would calm people down. And then like, we're going to get through this together, back to that community aspect, do the best you can right now as far as staying healthy and taking care of yourself and just kind of,
that's got to be tough. I can only imagine. Now, what else is tough is, okay, you love therapy, you love helping people through therapy, but then you start a business and it's not just helping people through therapy. That's probably like, that's obviously the main goal of the business, but you have to shift your focus to managing a team, finances, all of that. So like, how was that growth period going through all of that, owning a business? How did that happen?
It was definitely hard. I'm the type of person, I talk to people to try to learn as much as I can. I mean, even your podcast, I think I watch every episode up until now.
There you go. There you go.
Like you can learn from anyone.
You can.
But I always say, and so really what I did and also what I preach is I talk to an accountant, I talk to a lawyer, I talk to other business owners, I talk to other therapists. Like I talk to every field to get a sense of like what exactly I need in all of those areas, because technically we're with law, we're with accounting. Like there's so many.
At the end of the day, your revenue has to be higher than your expenses, right? It's any business, right? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So that is key. And that's why, when we first started to Ignite, it wasn't like what we have now. It's on a CRM service and stuff like that. But what it was we had a group of business owners. Remember that? It was like 15 to 20 people on Zoom calls discussing, how we're going to manage our businesses, things like. It was actually during COVID, I think it was. Yeah. And that's when we started it, I'm pretty sure. And that was a great time for me too, like even like coaching people, because these people had problems at different industries and I learned from every industry in there. I think everybody did. So that was really cool. What's your biggest challenges in the day-to-day of the business world?
The biggest challenge, that's a hard question.
It's a loaded question, of course.
I know. I guess a few things, but lately it's been keeping up with like legal things. Like for my type of field, we have to keep up with like laws and
I would be the worst in that field because I'm not organized like that. I'm organized, but not like that. That would be really bad.
That's always just a challenge. And
can you hire out for that part or no?
Yeah, I could. Yeah. Okay. And I consult with people. Even I consult with like an HR manager who's up to date with like laws and stuff like that. But that's just an ongoing thing. I would say, for me, I really believe people deserve more and more money than society is allowed to give right now. And that's such a struggle for me because it's like, I need to feed the business and I need to feed my employees and I want everyone to be happy. So having that balance and
yourself
and myself, yeah. I didn't put myself in that.
You have to feed yourself too. That's why you do it, right?
Myself, yeah. So I find that to be a challenge. And then also something I think I got good at, but my psychology background helps in this area, is the different personalities of the team, which I don't think people always talk about. Like, that's a big part of business. Like, everyone has different personalities that can make conflict.
You got to be able to manage people in any business and know how to talk to people differently. Even your customers too, right? You have to, because you know how people's attitudes are, and everybody's different. You have to know how to talk to people. I think that's a really it's like almost like an untaught thing. It's really hard to teach, right? I mean, I guess you can teach people that, but like it's hard. I know that like certain people on my staff have to be taught to a certain way. Some people need a little bit of like a little kick in the ass a little bit. Some people need that. Some people don't react good to that. You know, so you have to be able to figure that out. But
exactly.
And is that a hard part? Like just managing your team in general, is that a hard part for you to do?
It is, yeah. I would say it's a challenge. Like I said, I got better at it, but also like sometimes, like for example, if there might be someone that takes over the group and just overpowers everyone, it's like how do you find the words to tell someone like, all right, we
chill
need
out
to
a little bit. Well, you also want that sometimes, right?
Right.
From
like
some people.
And that person might have such good value to the group. So I mean, I find ways, and again, I think it's my therapy background, but like acknowledging this is such a strength of yours, when to use it, when not to use it, when it's helping us or when it's not helping us. And that's, it's hard to have those conversations, but it's really important.
How many people do you have right now, Bianca, on your team?
I have, that's so funny. My accountant asked me the same thing. I'm like, I should have these numbers off the top of my head.
I'm never sure either. Not because you know everybody, but it's just that the number in general sometimes it changes a lot. So
I know. So I know because I just did my payroll. I know I have 12 employees, and
Crazy.
I think 9 of them are therapists. I think 9 are therapists.
Did you think in 2020 that you would have 2021 that you would have 12 employees?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's where all the challenges come. Is managing that. Making sure it's on the same, everybody's speaking the same language to a certain degree of your brand. It's very hard. And then letting go enough for people to grow, like your staff to grow, but also controlling what's happening.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to manage.
It's
like, and it's really hard to teach. It's not like you can just teach somebody how to do that. You got to feel it out, and every situation is different.
Definitely.
With all that said, how about like the finances? Like, where does that come in? Like, were you good at it? Were you not good at it? Like, how did that, come back? That's a hard part people don't think about either.
I'm trying to think. No, I don't think that's my strong suit, to be honest. I come to you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I'm more of like, I like to create the business and grow the business and the policies and like
more visionary.
Yeah, that's the word.
But you still have to take care of the finances, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Every owner has to.
For sure.
So like, was there ever like a rude awakening where you're like, damn, like this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this part of the business. Like, you didn't sign up for this because you didn't.
Yeah, at times, yeah. But then sometimes that also does like excite me to like see the growth.
That's true.
But then the times it's not growing or like you're stuck, that it's a little discouraging. But I have to say, like, I do like every part of it in doses. Like, if I had to do the finance part all day, I would be miserable.
Of course.
But if I get to check in on that once a week, I'm okay with that. But yeah, I mean, that's what you're here for.
With that said, how do you plan your days now? Because now you have a whole staff of 12 people plus. How do you plan your days and make sure you're hitting every corner of the business that you have to, or like you're not doing too much? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I put everything in my schedule, even from like doing my laundry. Like I
smart.
Yeah, I've come to the point of doing that, and someone actually taught me this. To give yourself like a good amount of wiggle room. So say you're like, I want to do my laundry, like give a gap of like 2 hours maybe instead of just 30 minutes, because things might come up unexpected. I'm using, laundry as a personal example.
That is
but like,
very true.
So I overtime things usually that I plan to do just in case the unexpected comes up. And that seems to work pretty well. But yeah, plan everything from my payroll to putting in my numbers and my sheets.
Some people do like daily focuses in like certain areas of their business. Do you do that or no? Or is it just like kind of just wherever it fits in?
I like to see on my calendar, like I'm doing this, like these 3 things today. So
Specifics.
That's how I do it.
And then do you check the next day if you got those done and then start with the one you didn't get done, or you usually get it done?
If I don't get it done, I'll move it to another like time slot through my week. So I'll make sure it gets done.
Are you still seeing clients right now?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I'm still seeing clients. And that's the thing. I don't think I ever not want to see clients.
That's what you got into it for.
Yeah. I'm still passionate about that. And it's also like, it's a safety net too of like, all right, I know like this income's coming in. I'm in control of how many clients I can see. But a lot of the business mentors are telling me like, all right, well, you have to put more time into
Well, that's
growing.
what we got. We got you out of that about we limited your hours. I remember 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But that is the bad part of it is like you're not a self-revenue generator anymore, like a direct revenue generator of your business anymore. And I'm not in my businesses. It's more at large scale, but it does suck because think about it, like I was thinking about. I used to train like 8 to 10 people a day, like every single day. And like that's gone now,
Yeah.
it's not there anymore. So that's something you have to be comfortable with. But I think you did it right. We planned it out nice, and you have a good staff that's taking control of. But here's the deal. This is a fact, and this is for a good lesson for all like one-on-one people, whether you're a trainer or therapist, whatever. You can never do more than 20 sessions a day, maybe yourself. All right, you can never do more than that, right? 20 a day? No way. If you have a staff, you can do over 100 plus whatever you want to do a day. So like that's the reality.
Yeah.
And you have to face that sooner than later, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, especially in the training world, get caught up in that. They're like, nah, I'm training 12 sessions a day, 12 sessions a day. That's fine. And if you're cool with that, like, that's cool. It doesn't mean you have to do what everybody else does. But you can never scale higher. Just know that.
It's such a, I don't know why we have those limited beliefs, but I even myself, like I have to fight those
still.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard because now like, there is other sessions. You're not getting all of it obviously anymore. There's a big payroll that comes with it.
Yeah.
But then if you do the math right, it could scale to be better in your favor. There's always going to be a growth period when you're getting out of that phase for a couple of years. And then when you get past that, then your business, like, the entrepreneurs in the gym and in your business, right? It's like, okay, I was training all these people. Now my goal is to get more people to my business, attract more people for my staff and take care of my staff, make sure they have enough people and the business is thriving.
Yeah.
And that's what the shift that you have to make.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, it's tough.
So, future modern wellness, like, I don't think you're going to expand services. Or, we've talked about it before. Or maybe you are. I don't know. Like, what do you see modern wellness, in the future, service-wise?
Service-wise, I'm really going with what's working, and what's working without me even putting in so much effort is the growth of the individual therapy sessions.
Virtual or in person or both?
Now we're seeing more people want to do in person.
Yeah. You'll always come back to that, I think.
Yeah, but we can sell the virtual. We'll say we don't have.
Still do both.
Yeah, we can still do both, but it's an easier upsell to say, okay, we have an opening for virtual. Maybe in the future, when something in person opens up, and we find that people actually then become comfortable with the virtual because it's so convenient. But we still do both. I don't think that I would expand my office area just yet because we can build the virtual without having to, spend more on rent, especially with New York lately. I feel like everything is
it's nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
So that's a plan for now. But
we just looked at a 3,000 square foot place, and they want like 13. They want 13,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
So it's insane.
Yeah.
But it's. Your business, that's definitely a lot easier to go virtual. I don't think in the training business, people are saying that, but it's people want in person. The whole point of going to the gym is a community, in my opinion. So it's like you lose that factor. Yeah, there's going to be some people in the market for sure. But in your business, though, some people might feel more comfortable doing it virtual. They want to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So you have the upside. You have the upside of that. So that's going to be a tough decision for you to make, whether to expand locations or not. What about like partnering with other businesses where like your brand is there and like your logo is there with other businesses potentially? you know?
Yeah, I'm
but
open
like
to that.
it's for virtual reasons, you know what I'm saying? It's not for in person, obviously, at that place.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm open.
You know, that's
Are we
a good
doing a
idea.
little business coaching during the podcast?
Maybe. I think like if you had, you know, you could sell it up here, you know, and people that need it, you know, scan this and, you know, opt into this, and this is, you know, Modern Wellness Virtual, like, you know, we're everywhere, you know.
Let's talk after this.
We're not just in your location. So I guess that's a way that you can continue to grow. In terms of like, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind in the mental health world? Because you're not just, you know, making, you know, people happy. You're not just making money in a business, not just making your team happy. You're saving lives every day, honestly. So what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for Modern Wellness itself?
That is such a great question. Actually, because you asked, I'm planning my end of year meeting, which kind of like touches upon this. The way that we do therapy is we look at the human first and therapy second, where a lot of people, if you go into therapy, the first thing they do is they try to do all these techniques and theories, and they're totally missing who's in front of them.
Who cares about all of that?
Exactly.
Just connect with the person.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something like we really teach everybody, like throw away the textbooks, like literally throw away your textbooks, start with the person, and then we could pull in some techniques and such.
And that sucks, because if there is somebody that like has been on the borderline of getting therapy or not, right? And then they go somewhere that's like that, like cookie cutter, and they kind of like do all that stuff, then I feel like they get a bad experience, they can be turned off then.
Yeah.
Do you deal with that? Do you ever have somebody come over, like, I went to this other place, it was terrible, and like
all the time. Yeah. And it actually surprises me, but that makes me go back to like, some people shouldn't be in some fields too. Like there are some people, I was in my graduate school, I'm like, really? They want to be a therapist? Like everyone has a calling for them in their life and a fit for them. And it just might not be the right fit for you. That's one thing. But then the second thing is it might be a good fit, and they just are so by the book because of what they've been taught, and they want to do everything right, and they're missing out on like the real point of what therapy.
Connection, right? Yeah. I could definitely, I never actually thought about that, but I definitely could see that.
Yeah.
If you were talking to your younger self or somebody that wants to start this journey in the mental health world, be a therapist, open a business, what would your advice be to them?
I would say first to experience therapy on the other side. Maybe with more than one person.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I actually was never in therapy up until...
Well, you were with your mentor.
Right. So I was going to say, I'm so used to that non-traditional connect with a person.
And that's why you kind of...
And that's why it just makes so much sense to me. But yeah, so I would say that definitely talk to people in the field, start taking courses, even continuing education courses. You don't have to actually be a licensed therapist. You could just sign up for them to learn. But yeah, it's about just connecting with people, learning from people with any sort of field. I really believe in that.
And then what about business mentorship? Where should they go?
Oh yeah, the other side. They should definitely go to Ignite Entrepreneurs.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. No, but seriously, on the business side, where do they, like, what, how do they, like, that's a whole other part of it.
Yeah, no, it is.
Shadow somebody that's doing it, maybe, like shadow you, like come shadow you every day and see what you're doing.
I don't tell my secrets. I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding. No, I'm very, I really like to help people. Actually, going back to your question about legacy, I do have some people on my staff who potentially want to open up another Modern Wellness together. So that might be another option.
That means you're doing a good, that's the best. That's the best thing when people, you know, want to buy into it, they're so motivated by it.
Yeah.
That means you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Yep. But yeah, definitely business coaching, which I didn't even think I needed. Yeah. And then it just opened my eyes to, wow, I don't know a lot about
the
business and
X's and O's of the actual business. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. All right. So if anybody listening wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you, Bianca?
Okay. So I will say the Modern Wellness Instagram, it's Modern Wellness at Modern Wellness LI. That's the most active Instagram I have. The other ones I'm like in and out. So.
And then website?
Website is modernwellnessli.com.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, great. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.